What's up guys, it's your boy AJ back at it again with another video, and today I'm really excited because I'm reviewing Toy Story 5. So with this movie, honestly, it really did give me full nostalgia flashbacks to the other callbacks of Toy Story films. There's a lot in here and I'm gonna break it down in this video. Many things to talk about. Just a warning, this is a spoiler review.
Are you sure?
So if you haven't seen the movie, go watch it.
And then come back to this video. But without further ado, let's review Toy Story 5. So, starting off, I thought the Toys versus Tech storyline with this movie was really well put together, because with today's society and other people, there are many problems with people having tech, and I think with this movie it really did show why toys really still do have a use in being used. And I think especially the way of how they planned out how this storyline would work, it really did work really well. So starting off, the villain of this movie, Lily Pad, and I'll get to why she doesn't end up being a full villain for the movie. There is a way with Lily Pad that changes her mind because of Jessie. So I'm gonna break that down all for you, so make sure to check it out. And of course, hit that subscribe button for more updates like this and more videos. But I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's get into my honest opinions on where this movie makes my feelings go with this film. So the callbacks to the original film, really love the references, especially with Jessie. Like, she is the main character in this movie, and you could see it because if you have seen the movie or are going to see the movie, you'll understand why Jessie is the main character. And the reason for that is her original owner, Emily, she kind of gets a cameo but not really in this movie, where it gives you a full nostalgic flashback to the callback of Toy Story 2. Because if you remember, in Toy Story 2, Jessie was basically abandoned by her original owner, Emily, and the way she's reconnected with people in this movie to be played with, it's really emotional and amazing to see that the Toy Story movies still have the Pixar magic they did from the first few films. And I think especially for this movie, it gives a callback mainly to the first two films, Toy Story 1 and 2. And it really does show you that, and I'll get into later in this video why that nostalgic flashback is really great for today's society. Because if you didn't grow up with Toy Story like me, once you start watching the films and then you watch Toy Story 5, you'll see how nostalgic it feels. It might be different for some people who are now checking out Toy Story because they didn't grow up with it like I did. Because I started watching Toy Story probably when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I really did feel a lot of emotions with this movie. I felt happiness, I felt sadness, I felt a little bit of where are you going? What is happening? Type feeling. And it really does give you really great moments in this movie. And there are many other things with this film that will give you that great nostalgic flash of happiness mainly.
We do not care.
So moving on to the next topic, the relationship in this movie with Woody and the others, it's awesome. Now, if you remember from the end of Toy Story 4, Woody decided to go off with Bo Peep and the other toys to make himself like a lost toy technically. But he does come back in this movie. He has a lot to do, but like I said, mainly Jessie, because she is the main character of this movie alongside Buzz, really. And one thing I really love about this movie is the callback where we get to see Woody and Buzz have that classic rivalry from the first movie, because it really does shine in this movie when Woody tries to go off to help Bonnie be around kids her age without this tech, and Buzz, of course, he kind of has to interfere because Buzz has feelings for Jessie in this movie, and I kind of felt that way like all the way from Toy Story 2, but I didn't think they were actually gonna really like make it shine in this movie, and they really do, and I'll talk about why near the end of this video. So I think too, the next thing is Jessie's story. Now I told you in Toy Story 2, Jessie had an owner named Emily, then it was passed down to Andy, and then Andy, he went off to college at the end of number 3 and gave the toys to Bonnie, who is like now her owner of this franchise. And I think with Jessie, there's something really special about Jessie as a character, because since the second movie, she's always feared being like alone and in storage. Because from the second movie, she was going to be sent in storage, and it was just kind of, there's a certain feeling with Jessie where she was like, I don't want to be abandoned or left behind like my owner Emily did. I just want to be played with because I'm a toy. And I get that feeling from Jessie. It's like trying to make friends that are right for you. And with Jessie, she really does show that type of feeling where she wants to be like around a child, because as Buzz said in this movie, their job is to make a child happy. Their job is to help a child learn what it feels like to have an imagination and to really show what it's like to be a kid and have emotions that will connect with you for a long time, especially even when you grow up. That's the great thing about this movie. Even though Woody and the others, they're still like old vintage toys, which I love that joke in this movie. There is a joke where the villain of this movie, Lily Pad, she calls Jessie vintage, and it's true, she kind of is vintage. And it's really great to see that Jessie kind of gets her own like, you're not in charge here moment, I'm in charge. And I love that for Jessie, because I feel like now in the day and age with a lot of these movies, we don't get that kind of like girl power moment in these types of films. And I think that's why Toy Story 5 really stood out to me, because I love seeing movies with more girl power. It really shines and shows it doesn't just have to be a man that has to help each other out.
What?
So that's the great thing with Jessie. Now, I just did mention that, spoiler alert, Buzz does have like a crush on Jessie in this movie. And I know they kind of hinted at that in the second movie at the end, but I didn't think it was gonna happen. So again, spoilers, if you haven't seen the movie, like click off this video before you even watch it, because there are massive spoilers in this. And so with Buzz and Jessie, they get married. And I honestly did not see that coming, because yeah, I assume Buzz had a crush on Jessie. He was showing that emotion in the second movie and very much showed in the third movie. But with this one, they really do show you that like Buzz and Jessie, they really are meant for each other in this franchise. And I think if Buzz and Jessie met each other sooner in the first movie, that would have been even better, because that would have showed us like way sooner that Jessie is like kind of pretty much the right companion for Buzz. And I think that's great. We get that moment where Buzz and Jessie, they get to kiss each other in this movie, and it is really a special and beautiful moment for people in general who grew up with the Toy Story franchise. And especially for me, since I'm very nostalgic, and yes, I love vintage stuff, so I won't mind if I, yes, agree that with Buzz and Jessie and their relationship, I think it was amazing to see them have a moment together where they feel like they're a real couple, because we need more of that in films, honestly. We need to see this type of bond and relationship where it's like, I love that for these characters. I love they finally get their own moment to shine. They get to be themselves, and they get to just like feel like a family. That's what this movie does as well. It makes you feel like you're part of this Toy Story family if you grew up with the franchise. So then some of the other characters returning. I think it's great. We got to see some of the OG Toy Story gang, like Mr. and Mrs. Potato Head, Rex, Slinky. I think it's great, especially seeing Forky return from the fourth movie. Great stuff. And yes, of course, Forky meets a character they named Knifey at the end of the fourth movie, and they get married in this movie as well. So we get technically 2 marriage moments in this movie, because with the Toy Story franchise, there's something really nostalgic where you're just like, I'm glad we finally get to see more nostalgic, happy childhood moments if you grew up with the franchise. So that's just really great to see, and I think we need more moments like that, because as I know, I've heard rumors they are still continuing with the Toy Story franchise. Now, I don't know where they're gonna go with the 6th movie, because I know they announced the 6th movie, which I will have my thoughts and opinions on that, on what I think my predictions are for Toy Story 6, like near the end of this video, so make sure you look out for that. Okay, moving on. Bonnie and Blaze's relationship. Now, Blaze, she is a new character, of course, but the reason why this movie gives so much nostalgia is because Blaze, she lives in the house of where Jesse's older owner, Emily, used to live, and I think that's so great that they brought back Jesse's old owner's house and area, because it's great to see Jesse go back there and be like, I used to live here, this was my home, but of course now I live with a child where I'm actually loved and appreciated. And I think with Jesse, it's really great, because in this movie, I had a moment in this movie where, yeah, I cried, because it was a very nostalgic moment from number 2. And we see in this movie, Jessie gets a moment where she is outside on the farm, and she's right by the tree where Emily and her used to play. And we get a moment where Jessie finds a lunchbox, like metal lunchbox. She pulls it out of the ground underneath the tree where she sat, and she opens it. She sees that Emily, number 1, is grown up. She's an adult. She has a kid now. Really love that for Emily's character. And then we see like Emily, like she wrote a card. She wrote on the back of it that she's always loved Jessie, even if she grew up as a kid and abandoned her at the farm. Now, I think too, another great moment about Jessie's story with this is she also looks up at the tree and sees that Emily carved on the tree, Emily and Jessie, and that moment really got to me, because I'm like, this is nostalgic also. Like, I've been trying to figure it out since the 2nd movie, like, is Jessie still loved by Emily in this 5th movie? And I think it's great they finally wrap that up and tell us, yeah, Emily still did love Jessie all these years, even though she's an adult with a kid now. But like, that's the thing I'm talking about with these films. It's always nice when we get, if it's a full franchise and you get like a really good callback to one of the older movies, whether it was like from the 90s or 80s or it was made a few years ago. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. I love when movies, when they're a franchise, bring callbacks to original movies, and it's just really great to see that like shine in this movie along with the Toy Story characters. Because keep in mind, the plot of this movie is toys versus tech, which I will get to that next point in a second. So I think with this movie, it's really great to see that Jessie and the other toys, they all get their own moments to shine. Even if Woody wasn't like in this movie the whole time, he still gets a lot to do in this movie, like even as his own abandoned toy. So it was really special to see, and I'm excited to see what they'll do with Toy Story 6. So moving on, the new toys versus the tech. It's really great to see in this movie. They have some new characters, and the new characters in this movie, they are really awesome. So of course, Lily Pad is the villain. She is a talking tablet basically that Bonnie gets to use, because it's toys versus tech in this movie. And then we also get a potty training device where it was supposed to help Blaze as a kid, but of course, because she's grown up, she doesn't need it anymore. So it's kind of like locked away in storage. And then she also has like a Hippo phone that's like basically a Google Maps GPS type phone. And it was funny to see that, because the new characters in this movie do have their own moments to shine as well, and it's just funny that we get to see that type of thing. And of course, we get a camera too named Snappy. Funny too, because she always gets offended in this movie, where Jessie keeps like just calling her a camera and not actually its actual name, which is Snappy. And I think that was funny, because that's another thing I'm talking about with these Toy Story films. They always have a moment in these Toy Story films where it's a nostalgic, goofy moment where they just roast each other. And I think that's also another thing too, the rivalry with Buzz and Woody. I'm glad they brought that back, because if you have seen Toy Story, like the entire franchise or just the first movie, you'll know that rivalry has been around since the first movie. And it's just so great that the directors bring that back for this movie, because that's what nostalgia feels like. So now, the new toys versus tech, like I said, I was going to get onto. I also think the fact it feels like they kind of brought back the plot where there were multiple Buzzes, because they did that with the second movie, where they went to Al's Toy Barn, which is a character in the second movie. Al, he kind of runs the toy store. But with these new Buzzes, I think it's great you get to see that plot again, except these new Buzzes, they kind of like crash land on Earth, and Buzz commands them like near the end of this movie, where they're like, we have to help Bonnie make new friends. We have to help Bonnie like play with toys again, because that's all she ever did as a kid. And I think that's really great that they bring that kind of thing back. So, I had to keep this in the entire day, but wow, I was not expecting the post-credit scene. I didn't see it coming, because we haven't seen this character in a long time, and I really love the callback they do with the Star Wars reference, because they do it in number 2 as well. But we get a post-credit scene where it's a bunch of these kids, probably like first, second grade, I'd assume. They're all on the playground, and this one kid, he's kind of just sitting by himself, just kind of chilling. And then we get a moment where all the Buzzes that helped Buzz and the rest of the gang get back to Bonnie and Blaze, they all come down to these kids to kind of make them happy, because like Buzz said in this movie, their job on the planet is to make a child happy. And I think that was a really great line from Buzz, because it's true. I think it's important that kids play with toys, because it's better than being on tech, I can tell you that.
Are you sure?
But like the moment here, it was really awesome and great to see it, because I kind of called it, but I didn't actually expect it to happen. So the kids, they're playing with all the Buzzes that just land down on the playground with them. They're playing with them, and then all the Buzzes, they get like a warning signal on their chest, and they look over, and a kid just pulls out Zurg, and I was like, wow, that's just great. We get to see Zurg. And when I say they did a callback to the second movie, then like Buzz earlier in the movie, like even before the post-credit scene, Buzz is like, oh yeah, and Zurg is our father. And I was like, that felt like a total Star Wars reference that they did in the second movie, because they pulled off an entire Star Wars sequence in Toy Story form with Buzz and Zurg in the second movie, and I think that was really great they do that in this film. But yeah, it was just great to see that happen with this film, and see they really do care about these films, because Pixar, they've had some good films in the past, some not so many, but with this film, yeah, it's like my top second favorite Toy Story. Number one Toy Story is still, the first film is still has a special place in my heart, because that's the first Toy Story I watched, of course. But yeah, it's just that post-credit scene with Zurg was just really, really amazing, and I'm excited to see what they'll do with Toy Story 6. So speaking of Toy Story 6, I just wanted to quickly give my predictions, because I have a few thoughts on what could possibly happen for Toy Story 6. So now that we know that Zurg is still in this universe, because last time we saw Zurg was at the end of Toy Story 3 in the post-credit scene with them going to Sunnyside with Zurg and a bunch of other toys. But now my predictions for Toy Story 6. I think maybe there is a possibility we might get a like sequence where Andy is in college, but like he kind of remembers his toys as like a nostalgic thing. Like, I kind of miss my toys even though I'm in college. Like, and that's also another reason why I love this film so much, because with this movie it gave me like nostalgic thoughts into knowing that like I'm gonna be graduating soon, and this movie like shows you can still be a kid even if you're grown up. You don't have to like be dull and boring for the rest of your life even if you're an adult, because I see many things nowadays where they're adults still acting like children, and it's great because that shows you they still have that spark of childness and happy nostalgia with them even as an adult. And my other prediction for Toy Story 6 is we're possibly gonna see Bonnie as a teenager or even as an adult in the next few years whenever Toy Story 6 comes out. But that is gonna do it for this video. So I thank you guys all for watching. I thank you guys all for sticking along with me with this YouTube journey, because by the way, I hit 73 subscribers, so I'm very, very happy about that. And thank you guys so much for the amount of views that I got on my Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer reaction short, because that one, it hit 3K, and I think that was really awesome, because I've never had that kind of thing happen to me before, and it was just really amazing to see. I really have friends on here that are just awesome human beings, awesome people that know what it's like to enjoy the nostalgia of films. And I will have many more videos like this to come. Hit the notification bell for more videos like this. Make sure you stay notified, because I have a lot of more videos to come like this. And as always, I will catch you guys on the flip side.